Have you ever stopped to wonder why two people with identical education, the same opportunities, even from the same family, end up living completely opposite realities? One thrives, builds wealth, lives with freedom and purpose. The other struggles, works twice as hard, puts in double the effort, yet remains trapped in cycles of scarcity that seem endless, no matter what they try. The answer isn't in external circumstances. It's not about luck, connections, or even talent. It's something far deeper and infinitely more powerful. An invisible force operating from the most intimate part of your being. A mental force that silently but relentlessly defines who achieves wealth and who remains stuck in mediocrity, watching from the sidelines as others succeed. This force isn't exclusive to a chosen few. It's not a special gift some possess and others don't. It's not reserved for the privileged or the lucky. It's a universal human capacity available to everyone, accessible to all, but activated only by those ready to master it, those willing to do the internal work that most avoid. And here's what most people don't understand, what keeps them searching in circles for years. They've been searching for prosperity in the wrong place. For years, decades even, you've been told that wealth results from physical effort, from working more hours, from landing the perfect job, from having the right strategy, or being in the right place at the right time. But that's barely scratching the surface of what's really happening. It's like trying to change your reflection in the mirror instead of changing what stands before it. You can wipe the mirror, move it around, adjust the lighting, but until you change your actual position, your reflection stays the same. True wealth begins in a place you cannot touch, but you absolutely can master. A place where miracles are born, where destinies are forged, where the invisible becomes inevitable, where what seems impossible suddenly becomes your reality. If you're ready to discover content that genuinely transforms your understanding of money, abundance, and your own potential, subscribe to this channel. Here, we explore the invisible laws governing wealth creation, the principles that the wealthy understand intuitively, but that most people never learn. The premise that changes everything. The premise about to change your relationship with money forever is this: all wealth, without exception, begins in the mind, not in the external world, not in opportunities that appear, not in connections you make, not in the economy, the market, or your circumstances. In the mind. This isn't abstract philosophy or magical thinking. It's not wishful hoping or positive thinking fluff. It's a law as real and precise as gravity, as consistent as mathematics, as reliable as the sunrise. Every fortune that has been built in human history was born first as a thought, developed as a belief, strengthened through emotional conviction, fed with persistent focus, and manifested through decisive action. But here's the problem that keeps most people stuck exactly where they are. Most people have the sequence completely reversed. They have it backwards, upside down, inside out. They wait for money to arrive first, then they'll change their mindset. They wait for opportunities to appear, then they'll believe in their capacity. They wait for external evidence to give them permission to feel prosperous inside. They need to see it before they'll believe it. And while they wait, they keep generating from the same mental frequency that's kept them where they are for years. They keep operating from scarcity, from doubt, from fear, from the deeply ingrained belief that abundance is for others, not for them. That somehow they're different, somehow they're the exception. The new perspective. That changes everything. When you truly understand that your mind is the origin of all material manifestation, when you comprehend at a cellular level that your dominant thoughts, saturated with emotion and repeated with unwavering conviction, reprogram your subconscious to attract exactly what vibrates within you, then everything shifts. Then you stop being a victim of circumstances and become the architect of your reality. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop hoping things will change and start changing them from the inside out. It's not that wealth is difficult to achieve, it's that you've been using the wrong tools, working with the wrong blueprint, building on the wrong foundation. You've been building from outside in, when the only real path, the only path that creates lasting transformation, is from inside out. The mind that created your current situation cannot create a different one. Einstein said, "You cannot solve a problem from the same level of consciousness that created it." For genuine transformation, you need an internal revolution, a complete shift in how you perceive, process, and respond to reality. Your mind as a garden. To understand how this process works, to make it concrete and actionable, imagine your mind as a garden that never rests, that never sleeps, always producing something, always growing, always manifesting. The question isn't whether something will grow there. Something is always growing. The question is, what will you allow to grow? What are you planting? What are you watering with your attention? Your conscious mind is the gardener. It's the decision maker, the chooser, the director. It decides which seeds to plant, which ideas to feed, which thoughts to water with attention and emotion, which weeds to pull, and which plants to cultivate. But your subconscious is the fertile soil where everything develops, where the invisible work happens, where seeds transform into plants, where thoughts transform into reality. And here's what's absolutely fascinating. What changes everything once you truly grasp it? Your subconscious doesn't judge. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't question. It doesn't care if what you're planning will help or harm you. It simply accepts what you give it and multiplies it with perfect precision. It's neutral, impartial, and incredibly powerful. If you plant seeds of scarcity, thoughts of, "There's not enough," "I'm not capable," "Wealth is for others," "I always struggle with money," "Rich people are greedy," "I'll never get ahead," your subconscious accepts them as absolute truth and begins creating a reality that confirms those beliefs. It seeks evidence of limitation everywhere you look. It attracts circumstances that validate scarcity. It generates behaviors that perpetuate that cycle. It filters your perception so you literally cannot see opportunities that contradict your internal programming. But if you plant seeds of abundance, thoughts of, "I'm capable of creating wealth," "I deserve prosperity," "Opportunities come to me naturally," "Money flows to me easily," "I am a money magnet," "Wealth is my birthright," your subconscious accepts those ideas as truth and begins reorganizing your entire reality to make them possible. You start noticing opportunities that were previously invisible, though they were always there. You start making decisions that seemed impossible before, because your identity has shifted. You start acting with confidence you didn't have before, confidence that comes from deep internal knowing rather than external validation. The neuroscience behind the transformation. This has profound neurological foundations. This isn't mysticism or metaphysics alone. This is brain science, cognitive neuroscience, the mechanics of how your mind actually works. Your brain possesses something called the reticular activating system, a neural network that filters information you receive from the external world. It's like a bouncer at the door of your consciousness, deciding what gets in and what doesn't. Of the millions upon millions of stimuli surrounding you every single second, sights, sounds, sensations, possibilities, opportunities, you only consciously process a tiny fraction, less than 1% of what's actually available. And that fraction is determined entirely by what your subconscious considers important, relevant, or consistent with your self-image and worldview. When you change your internal mental patterns, when you reprogram your subconscious beliefs, you literally and physically change what you perceive in the external world. It's like changing a filters program, like putting on a completely different pair of glasses. Suddenly you begin seeing opportunities, connections, resources, possibilities that were always there, that were always available, but your previous mind couldn't process them. They were invisible to you, not because they didn't exist, but because your internal filter screened them out. Here's where the power of emotional repetition enters, where the transformation accelerates exponentially. When you take a thought of prosperity and repeat it with conviction, with genuine emotion, with unshakable faith, you're literally sculpting new neural connections in your brain. You're creating new neural pathways, new highways of thought that become stronger every time you travel them. You're reprogramming the internal software that governs your perception, your decisions, your actions, your automatic responses, your habitual patterns. You're literally rewiring your brain for wealth instead of scarcity. Burning desire is the fuel of this process. It's not a simple, passive, "I'd like to have more money," or "it would be nice to be rich someday." That's wishful thinking, and wishful thinking creates nothing. It's an internal fire that consumes any contrary thought, a constructive obsession that keeps your mind focused in the right direction, a hunger that won't be satisfied until your vision becomes your reality. And faith, in this context, isn't blind belief or religious doctrine. It's the emotional energy, the felt sense, the absolute certainty that converts abstract possibilities into living certainties that move you to action. When these forces align, when your desire is crystal clear, when your faith is unshakable, when your vision is vivid, and when your action is decisive and consistent, your subconscious begins working like a silent magnet operating 24 hours a day. It attracts the circumstances, the people, the opportunities, the resources, the ideas, the insights necessary to materialize what lives inside you. Things that seem like coincidences start happening. Doors that were closed suddenly open. People you need appear at exactly the right time. The actions that sabotage your wealth. Here's what most people don't understand, what keeps them running in circles for years. Many actions you believe are correct for generating wealth are actually sabotaging your capacity to create it. They're behaviors that seem logical, that sound right, but that perpetuate exactly what you want to change. The first mistake is seeking motivation externally. You read finance books, watch videos of successful entrepreneurs, attend seminars, listen to podcasts, but you do it from the same scarcity mentality that brought you here in the first place. It's like trying to fill a glass with holes in the bottom. No matter how much information you add, no matter how many strategies you learn, it filters through limiting beliefs that remain intact. The foundation is cracked, so nothing you build on top of it lasts. Another destructive behavior is obsession with strategies. You search endlessly for the perfect technique, the infallible method, the secret nobody else knows, the magic bullet that will finally make everything click. You jump from one opportunity to another, hoping the next will be the definitive one. Real estate, then stocks, then crypto, then e-commerce, then the next shiny object. But you're building on weak internal foundations. It's like constructing a mansion on sand. It might look impressive for a moment, but the first storm washes it away because there's no solid ground beneath it. Then there's the trap of misdirected effort. You work more hours, sacrifice more, exert double effort, push harder and harder, but from a vibration of lack, from the belief that if I just work hard enough, someday I'll have enough. That energy of struggle and survival generates more of the same. More struggle, more survival, more grinding, more feeling that it's never enough, that you're always behind, always chasing, never arriving. The most destructive behavior of all is emotional inconsistency. One day you feel prosperous, confident, unstoppable. The next day, doubt overwhelms you and you're back to square one. One day you visualize your success with absolute clarity. The next, you focus on everything that's missing, everything that's wrong, everything that proves it won't work for you. It's like planting a seed and then digging it up every single day to see if it's growing. You never give time for internal forces to stabilize and produce consistent results. You're constantly starting over, constantly undermining your own progress. And finally, there's the mistake of seeking external evidence before changing internally. You say, "I'll believe when I see," when the real law, the actual principle that governs manifestation is, you'll see when you believe. You wait for the world to give you permission to feel abundant, when it's your internal abundance that shapes the external world. You have it backwards. The external is always a reflection of the internal, never the other way around. All these behaviors keep your mind locked on the frequency of scarcity. No matter how much you exert yourself on the physical plane, no matter how many hours you work or strategies you try, you're reinforcing the very pattern you're trying to escape. You're digging yourself deeper into the hole while believing you're climbing out. Take a deep breath. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, stop for a moment. Breathe. Let me tell you something important. You're not broken. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with you. You're not less capable, less intelligent, or less deserving than those already living in abundance. You're not damaged goods. You're not the exception to the rule. What you've been experiencing isn't the result of your lack of effort. You've been trying hard, maybe harder than most. It's the natural result of a misaligned strategy. You've been using tools from the external world to solve something that can only transform from within. It's like trying to change your reflection by moving the mirror instead of changing your posture. You can move that mirror all day long, but until you change your actual stance, your reflection stays the same. For years, you've been taught that wealth is complicated, that it requires special knowledge, privileged connections, perfect circumstances, being born into the right family, or catching the perfect break at the perfect time. But that's precisely what keeps most people in mediocrity. That belief itself is the cage. Complexity is an illusion. The truth is simple, though not always easy. Abundance is your natural state. Scarcity is learned. You weren't born believing you couldn't have wealth. That was taught to you, programmed into you, absorbed from your environment. Your frustration is completely understandable. You've tried so much. You've put in so much energy, followed so many pieces of advice, implemented so many strategies, and the results don't come as you expected. The needle barely moves. The bank account stays the same. The stress continues. But that frustration is pointing you towards something important. It's not your enemy. It's a signal. It's telling you that you're ready for a different approach. You're ready to stop fighting against the current and start flowing with the natural laws of creation. The truth is, you have everything necessary to generate the wealth you desire. You always have. You've always had it. Your mind is the most powerful tool in the universe. Your capacity to think, to feel, to imagine, to decide, and to act is the same capacity that all great wealth creators in history have used. The difference isn't in what you have. The difference is in how you use it. It's in the direction you give your mental energy. It's in the consistency with which you feed your dominant thoughts. It's in the faith with which you hold your visions until they materialize into physical form. There's another way. A way that honors your effort, that works with your nature instead of against it. A way that converts your internal world into the source of all external change. The questions that change. Everything before continuing, I want you to stop for a moment, take a deep breath, and ask yourself these questions from a place of total honesty with yourself. Not the answers you think you should give, but the truth of what's actually happening inside you. What is the mental conversation that dominates your day-to-day when you think about money? Not the one you wish you had, not the one you show to others, but the one you actually have in the privacy of your own mind. Is it a conversation of possibility or limitation, of excitement or dread, of deservingness or guilt, of abundance or survival, of expansion or contraction? When you think about your financial future, what's the predominant feeling? Hope or fear? Confidence or anxiety, peace or stress? And here comes the most important question, the one that cuts through all the noise. What part of you keeps waiting for someone else, something external, some perfect circumstance to give you permission to feel prosperous? What part of you has placed responsibility for your abundance in the hands of factors you cannot control? What part of you is still waiting for rescue, for the perfect opportunity, for someone to choose you, for circumstances to align perfectly? Let it settle. Don't seek immediate answers. Don't rush to fix it or change it. Just observe what arises. Observe without judging, without trying to change anything yet, without making yourself wrong for what you find. Simply recognize where you're standing right now, because real transformation doesn't begin by trying to be different. It begins with radical acceptance of what is, with the honesty of recognizing the patterns you've been repeating, consciously or unconsciously, for years or even decades. Only from that clarity can you begin building something new. Only from that honesty can you begin planting different seeds in the garden of your mind. Only from that foundation can you create something that lasts. The simple actions that transform everything. The transformation you seek doesn't come from complicated actions. It doesn't require complex strategies, expensive courses, or secret knowledge. It comes from simple actions done with precision and consistency that most aren't willing to sustain. Because what changes your reality isn't the complexity of what you do. It's the coherent repetition of what you do. It's showing up every single day, even when you don't feel like it, even when nothing seems to be changing, even when doubt is loud. Begin each day with 5 minutes of auto-suggestion. Sit in silence, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and repeat specific affirmations about your wealth out loud, not silently, out loud. Your voice carries power. Don't say, "I want to be rich." That reinforces lack. Don't say, "I will be wealthy someday." That pushes it into the future. Say, "I am a prosperous person. My mind attracts abundant opportunities. I deserve and create wealth with ease. Money flows to me naturally. I'm a powerful creator." Feel it as you say it. This is crucial. Let emotion permeate every word. Let yourself feel what it would feel like if this were already true. Your subconscious doesn't respond to empty words. It responds to words charged with conviction, saturated with feeling. Dedicate 10 daily minutes to purposeful visualization. Close your eyes and construct detailed images of your prosperous life. Make it vivid, make it real, make it sensory. Don't just see the money in your bank account. Live the emotions of having it. Feel the freedom that comes with financial security. Feel the peace of knowing your needs are met. Feel the joy of being able to be generous. Feel the confidence that comes with abundance. Smell the spaces where you'll be. Hear the sounds of that reality. Feel the textures. See the colors. Make it so real in your mind that your subconscious can't distinguish between imagination and reality. Your imagination is the workshop where the future is born. It's not frivolous daydreaming. It's the blueprint, the template, the mold that your external reality will fill. Use it with intention. Use it like the powerful tool it is. Every night before sleeping, write 3 specific things you feel abundant about that day. This is critical. No matter how small they are, no matter how insignificant they might seem. I'm grateful I had food today. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. I'm grateful for that unexpected compliment. I'm grateful for that small win at work. Gratitude for what you have is the magnet that attracts more of the same. Your mind cannot create from a state of lack. Creation only happens from abundance. When you focus on what you have, you signal to your subconscious that you are already abundant, and it brings more evidence of that abundance. Make one daily decision that reflects the prosperous person you're becoming. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where belief becomes behavior. It could be investing in your education, even a small amount, improving your environment, even one small thing, caring for your health, dressing slightly better, treating yourself with more respect, or simply choosing thoughts of abundance when thoughts of scarcity appear. When the voice says, "I can't afford this," replace it with, "How can I afford this?" When it says, "Money is hard to make," replace it with, "Money flows to me easily." Identity is built with consistent decisions. Every decision is a vote for the person you're becoming. Who are you voting for? And here's the crucial point that ties it all together. These simple actions done with constancy, with devotion, with commitment, will awaken something in you that's been dormant, perhaps for years, perhaps for your entire life. They'll activate that invisible force we mentioned at the beginning. They'll begin reorganizing your internal reality, and as your internal reality reorganizes, your external reality must follow. It has no choice. It's law. What comes next won't be easy. Let's be completely honest about what's coming. I'm not going to sell you a fairy tale. This path isn't linear, isn't perfect, and definitely isn't easy at first. There will be days when your mind returns to old patterns like a homing pigeon, days when doubt is stronger than faith, when fear is louder than confidence. Days when you'll look at your bank account and feel like absolutely nothing is changing, like this is all just fantasy, like you're fooling yourself. Days when the internal voice of scarcity screams louder than the new voice of abundance. Days when everyone around you tells you to be realistic, to stop dreaming, to face facts. This doesn't mean you're failing. It doesn't mean it's not working. It doesn't mean you're the exception. It means you're being human. It means you're in process. It means your internal system is reorganizing. And like any reorganization, like any transformation, it comes with moments of discomfort, confusion, and doubt. What separates those who transform their financial reality from those who stay exactly where they are for decades isn't the absence of falls. It's not that successful people never doubt or never struggle. It's the speed with which they get back up. It's the capacity to recognize a scarcity thought and redirect it toward abundance without punishing yourself for having it, without making it mean something about you, without using it as evidence that you're broken or that this won't work for you. Every time you return to the correct focus after a distraction, you're strengthening your mental muscle. Every time you choose a thought of prosperity over one of limitation, you're voting for the identity you want to build. Every time you get back up after falling, you're proving to yourself that you're committed. Transformation isn't an event, it's not a moment, it's a process. And like any process, it requires patience with yourself, compassion for your human imperfections, and the determination to return to the path again and again and again. The great wealth creators didn't get there because they never doubted. They got there because they kept moving forward despite doubts. They got there because they refused to let temporary circumstances dictate their permanent identity. The power of symbols. Before we finish, I want to invite you to do something that may seem simple, perhaps even silly, but that has profound transformative power. At some point today, you're going to find a coin. It could be in your pocket, on the ground, at the bottom of a purse, in your car, between couch cushions. When you find it, I want you to do something specific. Take it in your hands. Don't just glance at it. Really hold it. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel its weight in your palm. Feel its texture, the ridges on the edge, the smoothness of the face. Feel its temperature, whether it's warm or cold. And while you hold it, while you feel it, say this mentally, with conviction, with feeling. This coin represents my infinite capacity to create wealth. My mind is prosperous. My future is abundant. I accept my power to transform my financial reality. I'm a wealth creator. Then, keep that coin in a special place. Don't spend it. It's no longer currency. It's a symbol. It's an anchor. Let it be your physical reminder of this new decision, this new commitment, this new identity you're stepping into. Every time you see it, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember that you chose to activate the invisible force living inside you. You'll remember that you decided to stop being a victim and become a creator. It may sound symbolic, even mystical, and you might be skeptical. But symbols have immense power because your subconscious mind speaks in symbols. It speaks in images, in metaphors, in associations. And when you connect a physical object with a deep intention, when you anchor an internal decision to something tangible, you create a bridge between your internal world and your external world. You make the invisible visible. You make the abstract concrete. That coin becomes a reminder every time doubt creeps in, every time you feel like giving up, every time you forget who you're becoming. It's your physical proof that you made a decision, that you committed, that you're on a path. Your new identity. From this moment forward, from this day, from this decision, you are no longer someone who waits for abundance to arrive. You're no longer passively hoping, wishing, wanting. You're someone who consciously builds it day by day, thought by thought, decision by decision, action by action. You're no longer a victim of external circumstances, no longer at the mercy of the economy, your job, your past, your limitations, or other people's opinions. You're the architect of your internal reality, and therefore, inevitably, your material reality. You no longer depend on luck, on contacts, on perfect opportunities falling into your lap, on winning the lottery, or on someone rescuing you. You depend on the most powerful force in the universe, a force that has always been available to you, a focused, disciplined mind aligned with its purpose. This transformation doesn't end here. This isn't a finish line, it's a starting line. It's a continuous path, a process of constant refinement, an evolution that deepens with each day you choose to live from abundance instead of from scarcity. The next step is available to you right now. You can continue exploring these principles, continue nourishing this new understanding, continue building the identity of the prosperous person you already are, beneath all the programming, beneath all the doubt. If this content has touched something deep in you, if it's resonated, if it's awakened something that's been sleeping, if you feel you belong to this community of seekers who understand that true wealth begins in the mind, then subscribe to this channel. Because this is only the beginning of a journey that can completely transform your life, your finances, your relationships, your health, everything. When you change your mind, you change your world. Your abundance is waiting for you. It's always been waiting. You just need to claim it from within. The work begins now.